first brought NSync to RCA, we decided to make some changes to the record.
There were some great cuts on there, but they did need some additional things to really, blend into what was going on over here.
We replaced 4 songs from the European album with 4 new songs from the US, and we released the album in the US. The record started off a little slow. We were a record on the radio, but we hadn't done anything major to connect the face to the music.
Chris's mother worked at Walmart.
I was running the craft and fabric department, and I have this wonderful manager, Mike Downs, whose brother had radio stations. And he said, well, I hear you boys in the band. Mike took a chance on them and said, we'll do a show here.
We put together a little show in the parking lot of a Walmart.
They said, well, you'll be lucky if you get a couple hundred people.
How's everybody feeling today?
Had to have been a good 2,000 plus people that day.
The response was just unbelievable.
And the boys stayed for 4 hours afterwards and signed every autograph for every person who was there. That was the first time that I had a taste of, well, maybe this is going to fly over here too.
They knew it was just a matter of time that they would get it right in the US.
Disney decided they wanted to do a concert for the Disney Channel.
My job was to find who's next and who's cool.
The Backstreet Boys originally were going to do it.
The guys had been working so hard.
They decided not to do it.
They had a lot of stuff going on in their lives, which led to the fact that the special wasn't going to happen. I called every record label to say, who's on the Eastern Seaboard. Elaine Schock, who was Senior VP of Publicity at RCA Records, said, Tina, I've got your group. They've been in Germany, they're now here, and their name is NSync. I got music, got pictures of the guys, and I took it to my boss, and I said, I think this is the one. I said, you get this spot if you can sign a contract in 24 hours.
NSYNC said, yeah, we'll jump on it.
And it was like, okay, we have a show to do, and you got 3 weeks to do it.
It was a very short time to work on as much material as we worked on. We worked really hard. I mean, you could wring your shirt out and the sweat was dripping like it was in the washing machine.
They had only been doing shorter little concert or radio dates, so they didn't have a full show.
We're NSync. Be sure to catch me and the rest of the guys for our first ever TV concert special right here on Disney.
We built these promos, and the 3 weeks leading up to the special, the promos would run, and we would see a correlation between the week we ran it and record sales.
I remember talking to the guys and they were like, man, we're so nervous.
I remember being in this huddle with Johnny and Melinda and the security guys and the guys and, sort of doing that prayer beforehand. And it was really a solemn moment where they were like, thank you for this opportunity. Let us go out there and show the world who we are.
Everything just kind of came together that night.
The girls were in full force.
You couldn't move, you couldn't breathe.
The screaming was just out of control.
Are you ready? You're all I ever wanted. You're all I ever needed. Yeah.
The entire park was completely jammed.
And it was like, here we go.
They rocked it, they pulled it off. They won the hearts of every American that saw it.
Staring at my heart when I'm with you. When we are apart, I feel it too.
They interacted with their audience. They really owned that stage.
When I say it, you say sing. It.
The Disney special really opened the eyes of a lot of people. They were up there with a band. They weren't doing it to track.
Your love is like a river, peaceful and deep. Your soul is like a secret.
They truly could all sing, and that was a big deal at this time.
God must have spent a little more time on you.
Timing is everything, and the guys struck the chord at the perfect moment.
The record just went nuts.
The
The next week, they sold over 500,000 copies.
Within 6 weeks, we were in the top 10, and then we jumped to number 2 in the country. That was a defining moment right there.
NSYNC was all of a sudden on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Suddenly, Backstreet and NSYNC were traveling on parallel musical roads.
Instead of us saying, have you heard of NSYNC? People were calling our office. We want them to play here, play there.
And then all of a sudden, the guys were everywhere.
Join us now to perform. Here's NSYNC.
NSYNC!
This is where the party's at.
Welcome to Total Request Live. Very special day today on the show. As promised, NSYNC is going to help us count down. Please welcome in. They're performing the #1 video on Total Request Live. Here's NSYNC doing Tearing Up My Heart.
It's tearing up my heart when I'm with you. But when we are apart, I feel it too. And no matter what I do, I feel the pain. With or without you.
People just came from nowhere.
Our talent agent called us and said, you know, Janet's looking for an act to open up for 10 shows. There's no money involved in it. Would you guys be interested in doing it? And I was like, yeah.
And they came out in their capes and they had these helmets and these Darth Vader outfits, and everybody was like, what is this?
The NSYNC performance got a better response than Janet Jackson. As you watch, these guys will be bigger than the Beatles.
We were in New York during the Macy's Day Parade. And Lance's mom sat down beside me and said, I've got a concern.
My question was, how successful do you have to be before you start seeing some of the, the rewards for it?
The boys were doing the creative vision. Lou was doing, quote, the financial vision. And the difference was that the boys didn't know the financial vision was Lou's instead of theirs.
When you're hungry at the beginning, you'll sign just about anything that they put in front of you. And all these kids were hungry.
The group really wanted to renegotiate the whole contract.
They knew that something was wrong and wanted to have it fixed.
The boys really tried, for months and months to try to work it out.
Unfortunately, we were not successful, and the guys were faced with making a really tough decision.
I remember Chris calling me and saying, we're leaving Lou Pearlman.
The guys took the position that the agreements were unfair and that they could be fairly terminated.
They did keep Johnny as their manager.
Lou was extremely hurt by the whole thing.
All the guys had developed this relationship with Lou.
This group that really came from nowhere is challenging a major record company to leave.
The guys had their entire careers riding on this.
Coming up, the boys of NSYNC face an uncertain future.
They were really depressed. It had all been so much fun up until that point, and now reality had set in.
And never knew if they were going to even get to keep their name.